All right, so now on to the extra sharing session. We do have with us the challenges of online language learning. We have Mr. Jerson here, who is the manager cum lecturer of the languages and education with 22 years of teaching experience in. Mr. Jerson, please.
All the way. Okay. There's no doubt COVID-19 has caused disruptions across the globe. This pandemic has also forced academic institutions to go online. It is easy to say e-learning is the new normal, but we cannot ignore the challenges it brings. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerson Lapi Jr. from the School of Languages and Education. Today, I'm going to discuss the challenges of learning a language online. This talk is in 3 parts. First, I will discuss COVID-19 ushering in the era of e-learning. Then, I will share a video on the benefits and challenges of e-learning. Finally, I will talk about the challenges of learning a language online. After the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a pandemic, nationwide closures have forced educational or academic institutions to close their doors temporarily. According to the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, the closures affected about 90% of the total student population worldwide, or 1.2 billion children in over 180 countries. And as the threat of school closure extension looms, different academic institutions are then faced with the same challenge, and that is to maintain continuity of learning. And what was the simple and immediate solution to this? You're right. The shifting of temporary homeschooling via online educational tools and platforms. E-learning is relatively the newest form of distance education, although it has been practiced for decades. Online education has since paved the way for a pedagogical shift in how or in the way teachers teach and how students learn. In e-learning, instructors, lecturers, or teachers function as a guide or as guides, and students become active collaborators. Everyone will agree with me when I say that this pandemic has turned personal and professional worlds upside down. And as we deal with the uncertainties, we try our best to understand the current developments revolving around education, particularly in terms of higher learning. In language teaching, we also recognize the challenges brought by the disruption of classes and the conduct of online ESL classes, as we shift away from the traditional classrooms and conduct our ESL lessons online via Zoom or Gmeet. We also try our best to identify and deal with the challenges of online language learning. As a language teacher, we acknowledge the changes caused by the pandemic, and we believe that the disruption will ripple for years. There's no doubt Online learning is one of the fastest growing trends in the field of education, and identifying the challenges will definitely help educators in improving the delivery of online classes. But before I discuss some challenges of learning a language online, let me share a video in which professors from different universities in Canada discuss the benefits of e-learning and the challenges students might experience with online learning.
It's very difficult to be a non-attender online, which is sort of ironic, because the student's almost immediately invisible by their non-participation, whereas in a large class, a student can miss several lectures and just not be missed.
Well, I think the benefit of online learning is, in part, the asynchronous nature of it. So the fact that students can go back and revisit maybe material that we've covered, and they have an opportunity to hear it a second time.
One of the main benefits of an online course is that the materials can be reviewed by the students anytime, anywhere, and possibly any number of times. I have received feedback from students saying how much they appreciate that they can go through the materials at their own pace, unlike where they have to go along with everybody in a regular classroom.
Another important benefit of moving to an online space is the flexibility that it provides, both for the instructors and for the students. The flexibility not only in terms of geography and the location where they can participate and complete activities that are part of their overall course process, but also any pace, so any place, any pace as well, that students can proceed at the pace that's appropriate to them, their previous knowledge, either more slowly or perhaps more quickly.
We know right now that learners learn best in environments where they have a measure of control, where learning is central to them. And in online learning, we've been able to design courses with that kind of methodology in mind, that kind of pedagogical approach. And so being able to provide that measure of control to students is appealing to them, not only in terms of their own motivation towards the course, but also in terms of ensuring and helping them learn better and more meaningfully and more deeply.
Specifically for students who have traditionally faced barriers accessing post-secondary studies and curriculum, online courses simply enable access to higher education. But there's a level of access also in terms of accessing the information, which is very important for students who, for example, have learning disabilities, or even for second language speakers. Online courses allow the use of assistive technology or other technological tools to aid understanding, comprehension, and expression of learning.
Nowadays, they're looking for the information that they need on a screen, and that could be on their cell phone, their iPad, their computer screen, or even their television. And we realized this 15, 16, 17 years ago, or at least I did, that this was a very powerful method of communicating with students. They're expecting to find things on a screen, so why not put them there? And this has developed into a way of teaching for me and for others, that I put everything that I'm trying to teach on a screen, and it's available in a multitude of formats. So I think that's of great benefit to the students, because this is how they've been brought up almost from birth, that they find information on a screen.
The benefits for students are clear as well. They're used to interacting and accessing things online, so they're very comfortable with it. And in many ways, they prefer it. They can learn at their own pace. They can review or study using your materials much easier.
Well, I also find with this generation, even though they appear to be tech savvy with their social networking tools. Using those in the service of their learning, I find somewhat impoverished. So actually helping them see a social networking tool as a means to learn, I think that can be liberating. For some of them, it's just damn frustrating because now it's no longer diversionary, it's learning.
The student has to take a certain level of responsibility, as a matter of fact, a huge level of responsibility in terms of facilitating their own learning. The idea that students need to meet the learning objectives in a way in which they themselves sort of navigate through the material and set a path for themselves to achieve the learning objectives of the course, that sometimes constitutes a challenge.
I think the other big challenge for students is discipline and time management. I've talked a lot to my students about this, and they know how if they fall behind, it becomes a challenge to catch up. And for some students, the out of sight, out of mind phenomenon takes place. So because they're not going to a classroom regularly, they kind of forget about it. And then when an assignment's due or a test is coming up, they try to catch up. But of course, they have other classes.
Or if not properly done, electronic online information can be inaccessible for students with sensory disabilities, for example.
Judging by the way educators explain the benefits of e-learning and the challenges students might experience with online classes, we can say that the technological advances of the past 20 or so years, coupled with pedagogical approaches and methodologies, have meant that this form of education is now a credible alternative to face-to-face learning. In short, e-learning is here to stay. However, a language teacher may find it difficult or challenging to teach a language online. When comparing traditional classrooms or schooling to distance learning or e-learning, the most obvious difference lies in the way the instruction is delivered and the conduct of engaging activities. As language teachers, we also face the following challenges. 1, technical challenges. Online learning relies heavily on technology. However, not all educational technologies are appropriate or suitable for online learning. This means that lecturers or teachers must know the pedagogical, social, and technological affordances of the platforms or tools that they're using in class. 2, resistance to change. Shifting from the traditional classrooms to online classes can be difficult for some students, especially those who are not familiar with technology. Even up to this day, we still get some students who are not tech savvy. And this makes shifting from traditional classrooms to online classroom difficult for them or challenging for them. They still need a teacher to guide them. 3, lack of participation. Online environment can generate a feeling of anonymity, a perceived lack of identity and affirmation. This makes it easier for students to withdraw or participate minimally in online class activities. Worst, some students completely disappear from the course. 4, lack of interaction. Without face-to-face contact, students tend to disengage, get frustrated, or unenthusiastic about communicating with their classmates. There was a time when one of my students complained about her classmates for not talking during a breakout room session in my Zoom class. I ended up joining their group just to do the activity with her. 5, disengagement. Students attending online classes believe the course will be easier and require less of their time and minimal cognitive commitment, making them prone to disengagement. You might see them online, but they will not participate, they will not respond to you, or they will not pay attention to class activities. 6, time management. Time management skills are crucial for online classes. Students need to monitor their own learning. Okay. They need to catch up with their readings and threaded discussions. Okay. On the part of the teachers, preparing for an online class can also be time-consuming. According to a study conducted in Australia, researchers have found that online study are also time-consuming for academics to prepare. 7, distractions. Online games such as Mobile Legends, Clash of Clans, Call of Duty distract students during class hours. Students miss a lot of information when they play online games during class hours. These will definitely have an adverse effect on their learning progress. 8, lack of motivation or staying motivated. Online classes make it hard for teachers to share their emotions easily with their students. And they may also find it hard to express their enthusiasm, give encouragement, or show concern. On the part of the students, online students must be self-motivated. They must understand the limitations of online classes and the difference between a traditional and a virtual classroom. 9, developing good rapport among students. Developing a sense of community online can be particularly challenging. Online students must team up with a virtual learning community in order for them to interact with their classmates to improve their language skills. Last but not least, 10, understanding course expectations. Online educators are not sure if students understand the materials or if their methods are working. Meanwhile, a number of students tend to say nothing or just keep things to themselves. This lack of face-to-face interaction will make it challenging for students to understand what is expected of them. These are just some of the challenges we encounter as language teachers. We believe that e-learning has made or has changed everything for language teaching or learning. But these changes will not stop us from improving the delivery of our language courses here in MDIS. This is the end of my talk. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have a good day.